Good day everyone. Today I'll be reporting about Metamorphoses by Ovid. Ovid Metamorphoses is an epic poem written around 2 AD, comprising 15 books and over 250 myths. It explores themes of transformations, love, and the human condition. The poem begins with the creation of the world and ends with the deification of Julius Caesar. Ovid weaves together various myths, legends, and historical accounts showcasing transformations of mortals, gods, and goddesses. So now we will start in the book 1. Ovid begins by invoking the gods. In the beginning, the universe is chaos, but then one god creates humankind. There are 4 ages of people. After a great flood, 2 humans, Deucalion and Pyrrha, repopulate the earth. Daphne and Lugh suffer at the hands of gods. Phaethon visits his father, the sun. So, here in the book 1, the author tried to introduce the gods, or cites who are the gods. And then, the author tried to describe the situation of the universe in the beginning, how chaos or messy the universe is. And here, where the gods creates humankind. And also, the author mentioned here the 4 ages of people, which is first, the age of gold, age of silver, age of bronze, and age of irons. Where in the age of gold, there was a time for trust, moral goodness, and fruitfulness. In the age of silver, people had to work hard for a living. In the age of bronze, it saw here the first wars, but some semblance of morality persisted. And in the end of age of iron, nothing is sacred. Even family ties lead to bloodsheds. After a great flood, 2 humans, Deucalion and Pyrrha, repopulate the earth. So, a flood happened when Jupiter visits the house of Lycaon, who treats him with the greatest disrespect, even trying him to murder him to his lip. So, because of that, Jupiter decided to punish humanity with a flood because of their piety. Deucalion and Pyrrha survive and no one else does. Hermes gave Deucalion and Pyrrha an advice about how to repopulate the earth. So first, they must cover their head, let their garments loose, and cast the bones of their great mother behind their back. So initially, Pyrrha is disheartened because she interprets this advice as sacrilegious. However, Deucalion has a different interpretation. He thinks Hermes was referring not to their actual mothers, but to the earth. So that's why they tried to throw stones behind them, and the stones morph into people. Daphne and Lugh suffer at the hands of gods. So, Daphne suffer at the hands of gods Apollo when Apollo speaks despairingly to Cupid, who shoots 2 arrows in retaliation. The first arrow causes Apollo to fall in love, and the second arrow makes the object of his love, Daphne, flee. Apollo pursues Daphne, but Daphne rejects him. Apollo pleads and persists, and Daphne cries out to his father. That's why he responded to transform Daphne into a laurel tree. Next, Lugh suffer at the hands of god Jupiter because Jupiter catches sight of a young nymph, Lugh, and lust fills his heart. Lugh was been raped by Jupiter, and Juno, Jupiter's wife, suspects something. To throw his wife's suspicious, Jupiter turned Lugh into a cow. But this move makes Juno more suspicious. She asks Jupiter for Lugh as a present and sets many-eyed Argus to keep watch over the transformed Lu. Upset by Lu's great distress, Jupiter sent Mercury to kill Argus. Mercury succeeds, and Lu is eventually transformed back into a nymph. So next is Book 2. Titan's pride is his downfall. The god Jupiter attacks Callisto, and the god Apollo turns the Raven block as a punishment. Okyro, the Centaur's daughter, transforms into a horse. Mercury punishes the mortal man Batus for his betrayal. Mercury also falls for the woman Herse, then turns her jealous sister Aglaros into stone. Jupiter kidnaps the girl Europia. So, the god Apollo turned the Raven block as a punishment because of his betrayal. The Raven was originally color white, but it lied to Apollo about infidelity of his lover Colores. Okyro, the Centaur's daughter, transformed into a horse because Okyro was predicted that her father would be killed by Hercules. Okyro is a prophet known for her ability to see the future, and his father was known for his ability. So, because of this prediction, angered Hercules. In some version of this myth, Hercules punished Okyro for her prophecy by burning her alive, and in the other version, he sent a serpent to kill her. Mercury punishes the mortal man Batus for his betrayal. Mercury also falls for the woman Herse, then turned her jealous sister Aglaros into stone, because her sister Aglaros was envious of her sister's beauty and attention she received from Mercury, and tried to sabotage the relationship. Mercury, enraged by Aglaros' interference and her attempts to harm Herse, punishes her into a stone. Jupiter kidnaps the girl Europia. Jupiter or Zeus captivated the Europea's beauty, transformed himself into a magnificent white bull. He approaches Europia, who was playing with her friends on the shore, and allowed her to touch and ride him. Once she was on his back, Zeus raced off with her, carrying her across the sea to Crete. On Crete, Zeus revealed his true form to Europia. Next is Book 3. Europea's brother Cadmus settled in the land of Io. His grandson Actaeon dies after offending the goddess Diana. Jupiter's wife Juno causes Jupiter to kill his pregnant lover Semele, although Jupiter saves Semele's son, the god Batus. Juno and Jupiter also consult Tiresias, a prophet who has lived as both a man and a woman. The nymph Echo admires Narcissus. Pentheus, Cadmus' grandson, dies after crowning the god Bacchus. After Europia was taken by Zeus, Cadmus was sent by his father Kenny Agenor to find her. He was told that he could not return home until he had found her. Cadmus followed the cow across the land, eventually reaching a place in Boeotia, Greece. Jupiter's wife Juno causes Jupiter to kill his pregnant lover Semele, although Jupiter saves Semele's son, the god Bacchus. So, the king of gods known for his many love affairs and his powerful nature, Jupiter's wife and the queen of gods known for her jealousy and her determination to punish those who threatened her position. Semele, a mortal woman who was loved by Jupiter. She was pregnant with his child Bacchus. Juno, consumed by jealousy over Jupiter's lover for Semele, plotted to get rid of her. She disguised herself as Semele's nurse and convinced Semele to ask Jupiter to reveal himself to to her in all his divine glory. Jupiter, bound by an oath to grant Semele any request, was torn between his love for her and the danger of revealing his full power to a mortal. When Jupiter appeared in all his glory, the mortal Semele was unable to withstand his power and was consumed by fire. Jupiter, heartbroken over Semele's death, rescued their unborn son, Bacchus. He sewed the baby into his thigh and carried him to term. Bacchus was later born as the god of wine, revelry, and theater. Juno and Jupiter also consoled Tiresias, a prophet who had lived as both a man and a woman. Juno and Jupiter, the king and queen of gods, had a dispute or disagreement or conflict about which sex enjoyed greater pleasure. They consoled Tiresias, who had experienced both genders, to settle their argument. Tiresias declared that women experienced 9 times more pleasure than men. This angered Juno, who punished Tiresias by blinding him. Jupiter, to compensate for Jupiter's action, bestowed upon Tiresias the gift of prophecy, making him one of the most revered prophets in Greek mythology. The nymph Echo admires Narcissus. Pentheus, Cadmus' grandson, dies after crowning the god Bacchus. Next is Book 4. King Minyas' daughter tells the story of Pyramus and Cerberus, who are star-crossed lovers. The sun in his love for Leucotheo and Salmacis, a nymph who joins with a boy to create Hermaphroditus. Juno has the furious destroy Semele's sister Athamas and her husband Ino. The last of Cadmus' house, Cadmus himself leads Cerberus and turned into a snake. The hero Perseus rescued the princess Andromeda, then tells how he defeated Medusa, the Gorgon. So, King Minyas' daughter tells the story of Pyramus and Cerberus, who are star-crossed lovers. So, this, as it mentioned, this is a classic tale of forbidden love, much like the Romeo and Juliet. Pyramus and Cerberus, from feuding families, are destined for tragedy due to their forbidden love, ultimately leading to their deaths. So, the sun and his love for Leucotheo. The sun and Leucotheo, this myth tells the story of Helios, the son of God, who fell in love with the mortal woman Leucotheo. Juno, ever jealous of her husband Jupiter's affairs, was enraged by Helios' love for Leucotheo. Juno punished Leucotheo by burning her alive. Helios was overcome with grief, and the gods took pity on him, transforming Leucotheo into a sacred tree. So, Salmacis, a nymph who joined with a boy to create Hermaphroditus. Salmacis and Hermaphroditus, this myth tells story of Salmacis, a nymph who fell in love with the beauty of young man Hermaphroditus, the son of Hermes and Aphrodite. Salmacis' love for Hermaphroditus was so intense that she prayed to the god to join them together. The god granted her wish, fusing their bodies into one, creating the being known as Hermaphroditus. These myths explore the themes of androgyny and the fluidity of gender identity, challenging traditional notions for male and female. Juno has the furious destroy Semele's sister Athamas and her husband Ino, the last of Cadmus' house. Athamas was the king of Ocromenus, and Jupiter's affair, targeted Athamas and Ino because they were related to Semele, the mortal woman whom Jupiter loved and who was killed by Juno's machinations. Juno sent a curse of madness upon Athamas, causing him to believe that his children were wild animals. He attempted to kill them, but Ino saved them by fleeing with them to the sea. Ino and her children found refuge in the forest, but Juno unleashed a wildfire that destroyed the forest and killed Ino and her children. Cadmus himself leaves Terbis and turns into a snake. The hero Perseus rescues the princess Andromeda, then tells how he defeated Medusa the Gorgon. Perseus battled the sea monster using the magical sword given to him by Hermes, and the head of Medusa, the Gorgon, to defeat it. He then rescued the Andromeda and took her as a wife. Next is Book 5. There is a great battle at Perseus' wedding feast. The goddess Minerva visits the Muses, and the muse Uranian tells her how the muse Calliope defeated the mortal in a music contest. Calliope sings of the goddess Ceres, daughter Proserpine, whom the god Pluto kidnapped. Ceres searches for her daughter, learns the origin of the spring Arethusa, and aids the mortal Triptolemus. Penus, the former suitor of Adrelina, arrived at the feast with his followers, vengeful and determined to disrupt the wedding. A first battle ensued, with Perseus and his allies fighting against Penus' forces. The Gorgon sisters unleashed their terrifying powers, but Perseus, aided by Athena's divine intervention, managed to defeat them. Penus was defeated and either killed or turned to stone, depending on the version of the myth. Calliope sings for the goddess Ceres, daughter Proserpine, whom the god Pluto kidnapped. The contest took place in the grand hall, with gods and mortals gathered as witnesses. The mortal poet sang of battles and heroes, his words flowing with eloquence and passion, but Calliope, her sing resonating with the power of the divine, sang of creation, of the birth of the universe, of the rise and fall of civilization. Her words wave and tapestry of epic grandeur, capturing the essence of human experience and the vastness of cosmos. Ceres searches for her daughter, learns an origin the spring of Arethusa, and aids the mortal Triptolemus. Ceres, the goddess of agriculture and harvest, was devastated by the abduction of her daughter Persephone by Pluto, the god of the underworld. Her grief caused the earth to wither, a crops field, plunging the world into famine. Determined to find her daughter, Ceres embarked on a desperate search. During her search, Ceres came across a nymph named Arethusa, known for her beauty and her skill as a huntress. Arethusa, while fleeing the advances of the river and Apelus, was transformed into a spring by the goddess Artemis. Ceres, in her grief and desperation, encountered a young man named Triptolemus. Recognizing his kindness and passion, Ceres took him under her wing and taught him the secret of agriculture. This story reminds Minerva of Arachne, the mortal girl Minerva defeated in a waving contest. Diana and Apollo punish Arachne's friend Niobe for insulting their mother Latuna. Some peasants in Lycia also offended Latuna, just like Marsyas offended Apollo. Pelops, Niobe's brother, is the only Theban to mourn her. The Thracian king Teresius weds the Athenians' princess Pronche, then kidnaps the torture her sister Pelomela. The two sisters take advantage of Teresius, the god Boreas kidnap Orethea. So, as Sirius recounts his sorrowful journey and the origin of Aretosa, Minerva, the goddesses of wisdom, war, and craft, might feel a pang of recognition. She remembers the story of Arachne, a talented weaver who prided herself on her skill and dared to challenge the goddess herself. The contest took place in a grand hall, where Arachne and Minerva each created a magnificent tapestry. Minerva, wielding her divine power, wove a tapestry depicting the gods in their glory, showcasing their wisdom and strength. Diana and Apollo punish Arachne's friends, Niobe, for insulting their mother, Latuna. Arachne, however, to depict the gods' flaws and transgression, mocking their power and authority. Minerva, angered by Arachne's audacity, tore the tapestry apart and transformed Arachne into a spider. Forever commanded to spin her web. Niobe, the queen of Thebes, was known for her beauty and her many children. She boasted of her wealth as her fertility, comparing herself to the goddess Latuna. The mother of Diana and Apollo, Niobe's arrogance and her insults to Latuna angered the twin deities. Diana and Apollo, enraged by Niobe's disrespect, unleashed their divine wrath. Diana and the goddesses of the hunt rained down Ares, King Niobe's daughter, while Apollo, the god of music and poetry, slew her sons. Niobe, heartbroken and utterly devastated by the loss of her children, was transformed into a rock. However, weeping for her lost children, her tears become a spring of Niobe, a constant reminder of her arrogance and the worth of the gods. Latuna, and the mother of Apollo and Diana, was once scorned by the people of Lycia. They refused to offer her hospitality or shelter, driven by their own pride and arrogance. This act of disrespect angered the goddesses, and she sought revenge. Latuna, with the help of her divine children, punished by Lycians for their insolence. Apollo unleashed a plague upon their land, while Diana turned the Lycians women into frogs. This act of divine retribution served a warning to mortals to never disrespect the gods. The Thracian king Tereus weds the Athenian princess Procne, then kidnapped the tortured sister Pelomela. The two sisters take revenge on Tereus. The god Boreas kidnaps Orethea. The story of Marsyas, the satyr who challenged Apollo to a music contest. a chaos, the theme of mortals' arrogance and divine punishment. Marsyas, convinced of his superior skill, dared to challenge Apollo, the god of music. Apollo easily defeated Marsyas in the contest, providing his divine superiority. As punishment of his hubris, Apollo flayed Marsyas alive, hanging his skin on a tree. This act served as a strict reminder of the consequences of defying the gods, while Niobe's pride and arrogance lead to her downfall. Her brother Delops, unlike the rest of the Thebans, mourned her deeply. His compassion and sorrow stand in stark contrast to the indifferences of others, highlighting the importance of empathy and the fragility of human relationship. The story of Tereus Procne de Philomela involves a king's betrayal and the terrible consequences of his action. Tereus, the king of Thrace, married Procne, the Athenian princess, but he then kidnapped and raped her sister Philomela. Tereus, driven by jealousy and lust, cut out Philomela's tongue to prevent her from revealing his crime. He then imprisoned her in a remote tower. Procne, discovering her sister's fate, devises a plan for revenge. She secretly sent a message to Philomela, and together they plotted against Tereus. Procne, pretending to have forgiven Tereus, cooked a meal for him, but the meal dish was the flesh of their own son, Aeetes. Book 7. The witch and Colchian princess Medea helps Jason acquire the golden fleece, then restores youth to Jason's father's Aeson. Medea later tricks the daughters of King Pelias into killing their father. She kills Jason's new wife, and she marries King Aegeus. Theseus returned to Athens against which Menus threatens war. One king, Aeacus, refuses to aid Menus, and the Athenian prince Cephalus tells Aeacus of his tragic love for her wife Procris. So, the witch and the Colchian princess Medea helps Jason acquire the golden fleece, then restore youth to Jason's father Aeson. Medea later tricked the daughter of King Pelias into killing their father. She kills Jason's new wife, and she marries King Aeolus. Medea falls in love with Jason and uses her magical abilities to help him complete the task set by her father, King Aeetes, in order to retrieve the golden fleece. So, in some version of the myths, Medea also possesses the power of restore youth, which she uses later in the story. After fleeing with Jason and eventually facing betrayal, Medea finds herself in a new situation where she marries King Aegeus of Athens. Next is Theseus returned to Athens, against which Menus threatens war. One King Aeacus refuses to aid Menus, and the Athenian prince Cephalus tells Aeacus of his tragic love for his wife Procris. So, in some version of the myths, Menus, the king of Crete, seeks assistance for Aeacus, but Aeacus refuses to help him. This act of refusal often reflects themes of loyalty and the complex relationship among gods and mortals. Capelus is an Athenian prince known for his tragic love story for his wife, Procris. Their relationship is marked by jealousy and misunderstanding. Procris is known for being a faithful wife, but she becomes suspicious of Cephalus' loyalty and is ultimately lead to tragic circumstances. Book 7. The Witch and Colchan Princess Medea helps Jason acquire the Golden Fleece, then restores youth to Jason's father Aeson. Medea later tricks the daughters of King Pelias into killing their father. She kills Jason's new wife, and she marries King Aegeus. Theseus returned to Athens against which Menus threatens war. One king, Aeacus, refuses to aid Menus, and the Athenian prince Cephalus tells Aeacus of his tragic love for her wife Procris. So, the witch and the Colchian Princess Medea helps Jason acquire the Golden Fleece, then restore youth to Jason's father Aeson. Medea later tricked the daughter of King Pelias into killing their father. She kills Jason's new wife, and she marries King Aeacus. Medea falls in love with Jason and uses her magical abilities to help him complete the task set by her father, King Aeetes, in order to retrieve the Golden Fleece. So, in some version of the myths, Medea also possesses the power of restore youth, which she uses later in the story. After fleeing with Jason and eventually facing betrayal, Medea finds herself in a new situation where she marries King Aegeus of Athens. Next is Theseus returned to Athens, against which Menus threatens war. One King Aeacus refuses to aid Menus, and the Athenian prince Cephalus tells Aeacus of his tragic love for his wife Procris. So, in some version of the myths, Menus, the king of Crete, seeks assistance for Aeacus, but Aeacus refuses to help him. This act of refusal often reflects themes of loyalty and the complex relationship among gods and mortals. Capelus is an Athenian prince known for his tragic love story for his wife, Procris. Their relationship is marked by jealousy and misunderstanding. Procris is known for being a faithful wife, but she becomes suspicious of Cephalus' loyalty and is ultimately lead to tragic circumstances.